Hi, my name is Ebonie. I live in Wolverhampton and my daughter is 10 months old today. I was breastfed, yeah, my mum breastfed me. I can't remember how long it was until, but it finished sooner than she wanted to, but she said that I wasn't getting full, so she had to find other means. I'm not really sure if my mum was breastfed, but I know that me and my brother were breastfed. And she kind of like was really happy that I said I wanted to breastfeed. My sister breastfeeds as well. And I think, yeah, my cousin also did breastfeed. So yeah, maybe we are advocates of breastfeeding without actually realising it. And it's strange to say that because I went to view nurseries the other day and the nursery lady asked, she said, "Oh, does she have formula?" I said, "No, she has breast milk." And then she was like, "Oh, we've not had a breastfed baby yet." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And she said, "Don't worry, we can still combinate your milk." And I was like, "Well, that's good to hear." But I just thought it was very it quite shocked me actually that a nursery hasn't had a breastfed child. And I think I left and I just thought, wow, like breastfeeding really isn't as popular and as normalized as I just imagined it would have been. And they say, "Oh, when don't worry because when baby comes, baby knows what to do." Okay, great. That doesn't happen. So I gave birth, I had a natural birth, and then baby was here. And then I went in, had to go on the ward because she pooed in me. So she had an infection when she was born, fun stuff. And then when I was on the ward, obviously you're left by yourself with this new baby. You're just like, what happens now? So I lay on the bed, I put her on my breast, and she looked at me and I looked at her, and I was like, "We'll do something then." Like I thought you meant to know what to do. She had no clue. She was looking at me, I was looking at her, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, okay, I'm gonna ask for help." So I went to the lady that was sitting at the counter on the ward, and I said, "Oh, the baby's hungry," and I put him on my breast. He doesn't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'd like to breastfeed, but I need some help. And she just looked at me and said, "Oh, just get a bottle out of the drawer." So I was like, right, okay. So she ended up being bottle fed from she was born. I had no idea what I was doing basically. So she did it for me. Then I was going to put it in the warmer. The warmer's there, and basically just left me to it. I looked at this warmer, had no idea what I was doing. Baby was still crying. I was then getting stressed because I'm just like, I've got this new baby. She's not happy. So she was bottle fed. So later on in the day, I said to the lady again, "Can somebody help me with breastfeeding because I would like to breastfeed?" And she said, "Oh, the breastfeeding lady doesn't come in on a Sunday, so you have to wait till Monday." So the Monday she was like, "Oh, somebody will be in, and when she comes around, when the lady comes around, we'll send her to you." Okay, great. So I fed, and then she came, and then I said, "Oh, I've literally just fed her." She said, "Oh, don't worry, we can't really work with you now because she won't want feeding, but we'll arrange your home visit." We booked it for the end of the week, which was the Friday, but she was born the Sunday. So in my head, I'm like, that's a very long time to not breastfeed and to actually bottle feed my baby that I didn't want bottle fed. I got home and then kind of everyone was trying to help. So my partner's sisters came round, who was like trying to help and guide me. We was trying, and then we did get her on there, but it was so painful. And then by this point, I had like bleeding nipples. It was basically like a hole at the end of my nipple. It was the most painful thing I have ever experienced. To the point where I put her on and like my toes would cut. I just think, please finish, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. I also had a breast pump, so I was trying to pump. I didn't know how to use this. I didn't realise the suctions would increase. And then I think on about the Thursday, I just started pressing buttons on this pump, thinking, well, something was happening. And I realised the suction was getting bigger. And I think from 20 minutes, like this tiny drop came out. But I was so happy about it. And then when the breastfeeding lady came on the Friday, she looked and said that she may be tongue tied. Which would explain why when she does kind of half lap, it's so painful when my nipples are bleeding and just why it's just not a great experience. So he booked her in at the hospital for an appointment, which we got quite quickly. So by this point, she was coming up to 2 weeks old. Had a tongue tie cut, and then we kind of I feel like I restarted the breastfeeding journey. Between bottle feeding and using a nipple shield, it was still really painful. So in the end, I breastfed with the shield off one nipple and pumped from the one that was bleeding because it was very painful. And I just transitioned that way. And then the breastfeeding lady kept doing home visits with me as well, just to like help me with the latching and stuff. Um, and then eventually, I think she was probably about 3.5 weeks old. I transitioned to exclusively breastfeeding. But yeah, the whole journey was very stressful. Um, and it was quite heartbreaking because I'd always pictured me and my newborn just like breastfeeding, and actually, I never envisioned having so much of a struggle to actually do it. And I just feel like nobody explains that it's actually a journey for both of you and you're both learning. They literally just say, "Oh, baby knows what to do. Baby just, the eyes are closed, they'll muzzle and find the nipple." No, they don't. You have to guide them. But you also, as a parent, need guidance, and that wasn't provided, which um surprised me. Like you literally aren't told until, and then it's when you have issues you find out, oh yeah, someone's had that issue, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I've never heard of anyone having problems breastfeeding before. I've never known anybody that's breastfed to be like, oh yeah, well, we didn't breastfeed straight away. Because also it would normalize problems a little bit better. Um, and I do think if I wasn't so determined to breastfeed, it would be very easy and quite understandable for me to be like, do you know what? I asked for help, I didn't get it, so I just kept on formula. I remember when I went to town and she was hungry, and I was like, where do I go and feed her? Because I didn't want her to just sit on a bench in the middle of the man centre. So I went back to the car and I fed her in the car. And I was like, this can't be it, surely. Like, what if you don't drive? And then she needed changing. So I'd said to one of the security men, I said, "Oh, is there any way that I can change her?" And they've actually got a feeding room and a changing room, which I had no, it's not, there's no signs anywhere. And it's really cute actually. You press a buzzer and security lets you in. And there's like a feeding chair and a changing unit and a sink and the bin and whatever. It's amazing. But then it's like, okay, well, when you go to a retail park, you haven't got that. So what do you do? Like, where do you feed? And I feel like there should be more places that accommodate breastfeeding moms, um, because I shouldn't have to sit and feed my daughter in the car. In restaurants as well, not all restaurants have baby changing units in the toilets. So I went out to eat on Sunday actually, prime example. I took her in the ladies' toilet. There was two cubicles. There wasn't even a surface that she would fit on. So I just changed her at the table. I mean, she's done a poo, but what what else am I meant to do? I was just like, sorry guys, I need to change her. And there was nowhere for me to change her at all. There was no disabled toilet because usually it's in the disabled toilet. There was no disabled toilet. So I had to change her at the table. And I was like, just a changing unit or something would have just made the experience so much easier. You have to learn to appreciate the moments that usually you just think, oh, I just want to get back to bed or just hope it's a quick feed. But it's like, it's not going to last forever. She won't be this small forever. So actually, the moments where you do think, oh, I'm tired, just try and find like the beauty in it. Because every experience of breastfeeding is actually really beautiful.